Welcome on Docker Developer channel. I am here developing a stable web application for music industry. In the Docker video, I am promised to research and set up the sparti Laravel Health package. I will be honest, the package blew my mind. It is powerful and useful, yet at the same time it has a lot of controversial decisions and implementations. If you are interested, pause the video now and take a look at the package yourself. Then check whether your thoughts align with mine or not. But I know where this effect comes from. The package was developed specifically to work with the OHDR service. Everything else was added to interest the open source community, and everything that is not related to working with the OHDR service is not sourced out and not optimized. I won't be using the OHDR service, at least not at this stage of development. Nevertheless, I ask you to respect the work of open source developers. They have done a great job. So, the success flow for which the package was developed. Health report was generating every time when someone go to specific route with JSON answer. This report is not stored in any way. Store, notification and analytics goes to OHDR service. OHDR service open this URL every minute and save report. Maybe make some alarms if needed. But the developers try to say, no, we are open source. It is not necessary to use our service. Here are 3 types of data storage. Notification are being sent. Web view, everything is cool, use it. But let's take a look closer. About notification. Let's imagine an abstract person who often lose consciousness. A person comes to the hospital and doctor say to him, every time when you lose consciousness, call to us and we will save you. But the person can't call because he's unconscious. That's why first of all we go to config and disable notification from our project. Notifications that the project is dead and not working. Here only one true recommendation. Use an external service to check the status of your project, and this external service should send notifications. And please do not store this service in the same server with your project. And yeah, there are enough such services. For example, Uptime Kuma. 1 minute to deploy in Docker, you log in and specify which URL to ping and where to send notification. That's all. In the video about Docker, I said that one of the advantages of Docker is that your team will start thinking in terms of services. Why did I mention it? Because I have some often see how company do the health check services from scratch without even thinking that the same Uptime Kuma can be deployed very quickly. And of course, the worst developer had to write search service because he is sitting on the bench right now. And usually search services fall down more often than those who health they monitor. But go back to health check package. Since we do not create a full-fledged analog of the OHDR service, I offer such a workflow. Create some simple method that return 20 OK if everything OK, and some specific error when at least one specific health check property says something wrong. Our external service should send notification or Slack, for example, if something wrong, and the developers go to web view of Laravel Health package and see what's wrong, or go to the server if web view died too. Also, here we need to think about the situation when everyone in on the weekend, everyone sleeps, return to work, see the alarm notification, and at the same time all health check parameters are okay. I'm talking about the store health check history. And Laravel Health Check package give us 3 options to save health check result. First of all, store to the cache, only a last result. This is a bad option. We should save some history, and of course we should not think about health check history when we clear the cache. The next option, store to the file, also only last result, and it is not okay to read data from file. So we are left with the last option of saving the history in the database. And that sounds okay, but it's very unoptimized in the package. As for data that must be stored and read it every minute. First of all health check parameter save by single query, single insert query, without even transaction, without multiple insert. So if you get 20 health check parameters, we will get 20 insert query by minute. But okay, it can be understood. We want to save at least something. But also, package recommends us to use simple controller for check is all parameters okay or not, and if not, throw some exception. Not okay literally. If you got some disabled checks with status skipped, it's not okay and you always got error. But that's not even a problem. Let's take a look at how the package got data. Remember, Boolean data, okay or not okay. First of all, it got all last record. Select all last record and then select all records where specific key equal to last record key. And then inside loop check if status okay or not okay. I will remind you all of this every minute. Every minute we got 2 query, 21 entity, 21 iteration to get Boolean value, okay or not okay. So this optimization is not okay for me. I create a small action that runs a very simple query and return true or false. Let me know if you think this is micro optimization. I very often had a client who told story about how they lost more than $2,000 in grant from Microsoft Azure or Amazon Cloud Platform because of bunch of search solutions. Code of this action and our solution you can find by the link in description, but please keep in mind I'm using action and I add model structure, so please rewrite code if you need. But search requests are okay for health check dashboard or web view if you want. Of course, they can be optimized as well, but this will be a micro optimization. And we do not open web view every minute. So I use it from package health check result controller. Important, please hide the web view from all non-developers. I talk about it in a video about log viewer and telescope. Just a reminder, the ideal option is to provide access only from your corporate IP, but if you want simple, use basic HTTP auth, and please do not use the obvious root name in production. All these rules I implement for the package Laravel Health, add to config and to .env files. Also, I advise you to hide a simple method okay, not okay. It is bad idea to let attackers know if the attack was successful or not. I also moved the up method to the model. We should not hide them, because if application die, everyone will find out about it from the main page. So extra checks do not help us. I start looking at this package specifically for the Docker Healthcheck methods. Of course, the package does not offer any optimized option for getting the status of a specific parameter. So I write a simple action by myself. Simple query inside as command decorator will return non-zero code if status of specific parameter not okay. And if we use extra fresh option, run health check command. And go back to best package solutions. In documentation, package say we should run health check command as schedule task right from application. Should I explain what's wrong with that? If you died, measure the temperature and say that you died. So we should not run health check command as schedule task. We can run on health check route every time, but for local development, useful use Docker Healthcheck command, but only once in IPP service. Now Docker responsible for running command. To be sure that the service are started after the health check, I added depends on IPP to Horizon and to schedule services. Also here I was noting that start period property in Docker Compose health check not work. Please make a comments if you know why, because now Docker spent a minute to check if it health or not. It is not critical, but why not? For the record, all interfaces in the package exist. Of course, I can make my model, I can make my store class, I can optimize everything as I want. I will probably do it, but not now. The package took a lot of my time, therefore, for now I'm writing those methods that interested for me. And in the next video I will cover them with tests. This is a good time to set up tests. And for the final, I will analyze exactly which checks I choose and why. And I will make some notice about checks that I did not choose. In the meantime, I will remind, there is war in my country. Every day, every minute, Russians try to destroy everything beautiful that exists and spend millions of dollars for propaganda. Please do not believe Russian propaganda and support Ukraine. Thank you. So the list of checks that I choose and why. Octane check. I use it in the health check of IPP service. And please be careful, if you run health check command from the scheduler service, Octane is not running inside scheduler service. Next one, Horizon check. Top 1 for the Horizon Service Health Check. Next one, Scheduler Check. Here important to understand the principle of Scheduler Check operation. You must add a check command to Scheduler. It write a timestamp to cache every minute, and Health Check will check if timestamp more than 2 minutes behind, it means the Scheduler service not work. Of course, use it for Health Check of the Scheduler container, and now you can understand why it is a bad idea to run Health Check command inside Scheduler. It always be true or fully die, not work at all. Next one, database connection count check. Here you need to understand for Laravel Octane, one connection for one Octane worker, and several system process like auto vacuum, background writer, and so on. This is Octane feature, one constant connection. If you are not using Octane, each request plus one connection, maybe more. So in the case of Octane, 20 connection sounds okay. For others, it depends on system high load. Go next, database size check. This check is useful if you use cloud service and fear that you will receive a large bill for maintenance, but in general it is nice to see how your project grows. Queue size check. The number of process in queue is very useful metric. It will indicate abnormal activity or case where things you are going wrong and process are accumulating. Very useful. It is a mandatory check. Used disk space check. It is very useful even if you don't store file or database on the same server with code. Memory can spend for Docker images, temp files, some big logs, and cache, of course. Next on Redis check, just check Redis connection, useful, why not. Next on CPU load check, Unix CPU load numbers. In short, it is 3 numbers: load CPU cores in last 1 minute, 5 minutes, and 15 minutes. 1 is 1 core, 0.5 is 0.5 of CPU core. This metric is useful for timely problem detection, like stuck processes and etc. But you should set limit based on your server's metrics and expected payload, of course. Next one, debug mode check. Very useful. At minimum, it will alert you during the first deployment, because DevOps usually doesn't pay attention to your debug mode, just copy .env example file, and of course in the case when some developers manually set debug mode to true in the production and forgot to disable it. Please remember, debug mode expose a lot of critical information. They will show all your case, passwords, and etc. right inside browser. Do not enable it on the servers. Never. Use logs, log viewer, or debug, or some debug tracker, of course. But go next. Redis memory usage check. Helps identify any stuck cache entries, and of course it will highlight some anomaly problems. Next, security advisories check. I talk about security checks as part of PHP Insights package. Absolutely useful if the project is released and not updated every day. It allows you to react to vulnerability early that middle level hackers. But I'm not sure if it is okay to check every minute, but I will test it. Looks great. Next one, SSL certification checks. Very useful, but you should know this checks is often present in external monitors services, so we can use them. And of course, if the project has many domains, specify each one. Next one, optimize IPP check. Useful for prod and stage environments. Checks if command PHP artisan optimize has been run, or PHP artisan cache config, view, and root. Very useful. Developers often forgot about optimization. DevOps doesn't care at all, and of course exist cases when a developer clears the cache directly on the server and forget to revert it. And the last one, cache check. In my case, it overlaps with the Redis check, but if I will switch Redis to Memcache, it would be useful. I quickly review checks that are not included in my list. First of all, backup check. It is required package sparti backup. It creates dump of your database and archive all your code with storage directory. I don't recommend use it. Use S3 for file storage and cloud solution for databases. But if you use zip file backup like this, of course add this check. Next on database check. It makes sense if I don't save all health check results to the database, or I have more than one database connection. For now, for me it's useless. Next on environment check. Absolutely strange check. It sounds like okay, but I absolutely doesn't understand how to use it in in practice. If environment is production, check is environment production. Useless as for me, but if you know an answer, please write. Next on flare error count check. As for me, it's useless even if you use flare error tracker, unless the flare service does not have a notification function. Next, mail search. If I will use mail search, of course I will set up it, but if I use some other service for full text search, I think ping check would be enough. So next one, ping check. I believe it's useful for microservices, external HTTP services, and so on. I will use it when I need it. Next, queue check. It is duplication of horizon check in my case, so I skip it. And the last one, environment variables. It is interesting check. It will help catch accident deletion of some configuration, but I don't see the point in checking every minute. Maybe I'm wrong. Theoretically, only during deployment check it will be okay. And it is all for checks. Also, I have to say that I did not manage to fully configure health check with Laravel Telescope, so I have a mess in Telescope commands and cache pages. It is not critical, but please be ready for this. And a fun idea, give this package as technical task before the interview. It will be useful for candidate, and you will be able to understand who you are hiring. Thank you, respect to open source developers, and support Ukraine.